Okay, this is the second part of the gear video. I wasn't planning on splitting into two, but it was just too long. So yeah, here's part two. Take it easy. All right, that's the outside. This dry bag is a heavy duty dry bag. And I've got this because I take my iPad when I'm solo and I'm going through a lot of towns particularly. I take my iPad with me for some entertainment because my finger's too big for the phone to do much. So my iPad's charging at the moment, so it's not in there. But yeah, this heavy duty Sea to Summer dry bag is pretty bulletproof. Plus the pack is pretty waterproof too. This is my odds and end Dyneema bag. It's a HMG Dyneema kind of organising bag. This little dry bag's got electrical cords, so iPhone, iPad, InReach, earphones, or earplug, or earphones, yeah. What else is there? Head torch. All those things need charging at some stage, whether I'm in town or on the walk, so I have to carry this the whole way. And I have a spare iPhone cord just in case the other one dies on me. So there's that. My wallet lived in there when I was on the walk. So as you can see, I have dry bags for most things. My car keys lived in this one. You could combine the wallet and the car keys, and but I always have it just in case it rains a lot, and then I can chuck them together and use the bag for something else. A little pack, a little like stuff pack and a small stuff sack, its own stuff sack. Handy for shops when you're going to the supermarket in town or doing side trips. You can chuck your InReach and your water in there and do a side trip up a mountain or whatever. They're not super strong. You've got to look after them a little bit, but you know, they weigh bugger all and they're very handy. This is just so this is where the painkillers and the anti-inflams. What else did I use? Ibuprofen. I've got some, what do you call it?
Got antibiotics in there as well?
Yeah, I've got a course of antibiotics, just some stuff that I may need. Look, so it's a first aid kit basically, a few band-aids, stuff like that. Look, you can cut this stuff back. I only use the anti-inflams and the other stuff, and I normally don't even touch it, but I don't know. I mean, if you're going ultralight, you wouldn't have half this stuff, but I'm not ultralight and I'm old. I carried this spare battery, same size as the other one. I think I've got too much battery for the bib, so I'm going to actually drop this one down to half the size. I've got another couple there, and save a bit of weight there for the bib. Once again, compass came for a 1,000k walk and never got used. But you've probably got to carry it. I used my snake bandage on this walk when I got my sore shin and ankle. I thought I'd kind of wrap it up with a bit of pressure and see if it helped. It actually made it worse. So the snake bandage is actually being used now, but not in anger. I carried a little bit of heel balm just to stop my heel splitting. And I bought this Voltaren cream in, I think it was Tanunda, just to try and ease some of the aches and pains on my legs. And it worked okay. Look, my legs came good. I'm not sure if it was anything to do with the cream, but I needed everything I could get to keep walking there for a while. And these are my little luxury toe warmers for my quilt. You buy them at Chemist. If you're smart, you buy them at Chemist Warehouse. If you're not smart, you can pick them up in Anaconda for about the price of one that you get 5 at Chemist Warehouse. So, little hint, I reckon the hand warmers are better than the toe warmers. The hand warmers are a little bit bigger and they last for 10 hours. The toe warmers are a little bit smaller and they only go 8 hours. Anyway, make your own mind up there. And that's just a little Dyneema organising bag. This is my food bag. Obviously it's pretty empty at the moment because I've eaten all the food. What I might do is in the logistics video, the next video that comes up after this, I might talk a little bit more about food because people did ask me on the AAWT ones what I was eating. So I might go into that a little bit more in the next couple of videos. There's some protein powder in there. That's my little MSR pocket rocket, and my spork doesn't fit in the billy, so I chuck it in with my food. That's about 25 years old, still working. Now my food bag, not a dry bag. This isn't quite as heavy duty as the other one I use down there for the iPad, but it keeps my food dry and in the rain. And I mean, the food's in the Dyneema pack, inside snap locks normally, so yeah, it's no problem. And I haven't had any trouble with animals, even in the huts where there was plenty of mice. Sam bought a pillowcase for me before we left. It isn't cotton, it's kind of like some rip-off silk. Satin, yeah. So what I do is I'll get Sam to sew a bit of, and I can't sew, I'm shit ass. Sews a bit of elastic, a wide strip of elastic, and then I shove some clothes in there, and then wrap that over the top and up under my mat, and it holds everything in there, but it also holds it onto the mat, and it's good, works well. This is my Rab Puffy, does all my trips, well, most of my trips with me, in winter anyway. It'll be coming on the bib. Spare pair of socks. So I normally went with, this is a pair that go below the ankles. I normally went with 2 above ankles. I think they're called crew socks, and these go just under the ankles. These were more to use in the quilt at night when I put the cream on my feet, just to stop the cream getting on the quilt. I don't enjoy walking in these when they come under my ankles. It just feels a bit naked, but I mean, they could be used for that. Gloves. Okay, so I use these, I don't know what brand they are. I've had them for a long time. Just gloves to keep my hands warm on the frosty mornings with limited success, to be honest with you. I'll probably take these in the bib. I'll get away with them down there. But if I'm going to do much more winter walking, and I will, I'm going to have to get a better pair of gloves to keep my fingers warm, because yeah, it's just agony. These aren't that good when it gets down around 0. Okay, my trusty, believe it or not, still going strong with no holes, no nicks, no damage, touch wood. Z-Pack's Vertex Gore-Tex jacket, so it's a single layer. It's got the pit zips. Who knew that it'd last this long? They're not that expensive, although they are only single layer Gore-Tex. Absolutely, probably only a couple of 100 grams. The sizes are huge. This also doubles up on my single skin tent because I'm so tall. I don't want my foot box touching the edge of the tent. So what I do is I do this up and then put my feet and my quilt inside this at night. And that way, if anything touches the edge of the walls of the single skin tent, it's this. Keeps my quilt dry. And it's single skin, so it's not overheating your feet. I'm thinking I'll probably get another one of these when this one does eventually die, because I'm super impressed. The only thing is, it has to be fragile. So I haven't got a nick or a cut or a scratch or damaged it at all, but you've got to look after it, I reckon. You wouldn't do off-track stuff in Tassie or anything too drastic with this. You'd have to get something heavier. And these are my cheap overpants, same ones I use on the AAWT. I don't think I even use these on the Heysen. toiletries. So this is just trowel, little trowel, toilet paper, some wet wipes, some what do you call it?
Hand sanitizer.
Hand sanitizer, yeah. Stuff like that. Got to have it. Use it, obviously. Yeah, won't go into every bit of detail there. So, this is my CNOC bladder that I use for my bee-free filter. I've chucked the filter, but I still use the bladder in case I need to carry extra water. I thought on this walk I might need to carry extra water, but I didn't. I'm thinking for the bib, with the tanks quite often, I don't really think I'm going to need this, so I'll probably leave this at home. But it weighs bugger all. It's a lot lighter than my MSR dromedary. I've got them anyway for the filter, and I'm not using the filter, so I might as well use them. But I don't know if I'll take it on the bib or not yet. Jury's still out there. This is a MacPack Nitro top. Biggest size I could get for a bloke. It just fits me. It's a hoodie. Surprisingly warm, weighs bugger all. Very, very, doesn't like anything sharp. Can you see where it's all pilling up there? Looks a bit crappy now, but still keeps me warm. So yeah, they don't look the best if you're a bit rough on them, like Velcro. They don't like Velcro or any sticks or kind of anything rough. It'll pull cords, but they are very comfy for the weight and very warm for the weight. These are my pants that I slept in. So these are Montaigne. I don't know what model they are. They're super light. They've got vents on the side that let your thighs breathe a little bit. They got vents at the bottom for taking them on and off with your shoes on. I wore these around town when I was doing washing, when I was washing my shorts. Also slept in these, and these are what I pulled on when I had a lot of spinifex to go through. It doesn't keep the spinifex from spiking you, but it is better than bare skin. But anyone who's walked through a lot of spinifex will know even canvas gaiters don't stop spinifex. Buff. You have to have a buff, I think, with a quilt. So I'd use my hoodie, another hoodie I've got in here, and then I put the buff over the top to keep the hoodie in place overnight when I was in my quilt. Speaking of the other hoodie, this is my other icebreaker hoodie that I sleep in. So this one's a heavier one than the one I walk in. It's got insulation on the front here. It also goes up around your mouth and your nose if you want it to. I generally don't, but because it just wets out, but you can. And now I'll put the buff over the top of this. You could possibly, depending what you're doing, you could probably get away with one hoodie. I just like to keep this and the pants somewhere dry in case everything gets wet during the day. I've got something to change into at night to stay dry. That's why I carry two of them. But yeah, if you want to risk it, you could probably risk it. Ultralighters wouldn't be carrying two of these. This is my ground sheet for my duplex. It's a Dyneema ground sheet. If I don't use it, if the tent's somewhere on grass or somewhere soft, I'll just use it out the front of the tent as like a mat. If it's a bit rocky or a bit stony or there's a few bindies around or burrs or something, I'll chuck this on the floor. My tent is now pretty old. So this is my Z-Pax duplex tent. It's done a lot of work, this tent. I got it in 2000 and it's now 2024. It's still remarkably good as far as waterproof. Doesn't leak at all from the top. The bathtub floor's got a couple of little holes that I've patched. You just, with Dyneema, you just buy the Dyneema, or get the Dyneema tape and just patch them up. And I slept in really bad conditions a couple of times where the water was an inch deep all around me, and it came in a fraction, but didn't wet me at all. It was a little bit of water under my sleeping mat in the morning, but nowhere else in the tent. And like I say, this tent has done a lot of work. I'd say I've slept in this tent in days, I'd say at least a couple of 100 days, and quite a lot of it on like the Larapinta or up northern Australia on rocks and rough ground, and it's still hanging in there. It weighs about probably 500 grams, probably with my steaks, maybe 600 grams. And I'm not sure where the steaks are, they're in there somewhere. I'm hoping. It's still wet, so I'm going to get that out and I need to dry that. But yeah, I'm going to get another one of these when this one dies. But I'm going to grab there's the steaks there. I'm going to grab a longer one. You can get a longer version. I don't know if anyone's seen my videos, but I use sticks to kind of prop up the ends of this tent to give me a little bit more headroom and toe room. But the Z-Packs actually make one now that it comes with its own system. And the other thing is, mine's got the toggles that hold the vegetables together and closed. Nowadays they have a zip, one with a zip. It's more like your Dan Durston setup, I think, or your tarp tent setup. So I'll probably go with a zip system. But as far as quality and efficiency and design, I don't think, I'm quite happy with the Z-Packs one. Thermarest Exotherm, about a 6.9 rating. That's fine. Obviously you've got to have air in it. If your hips are touching the ground or whatever, they're going to get cold. But as long as you're keeping yourself off the ground, it's brilliant for keeping you warm. And I use a quilt, so I'm actually laying straight onto this on my back. So yeah, really, really good. And this is the bigger size, rectangular one, wide one. So I'm a pretty big guy, so I need that. All right, this is my event, which is meant to be waterproof. This one is pretty waterproof, I think. Stuff sack, and it's got my quilt in it. So this is a Cedar Summit quilt. Now, not Cedar Summit, Tier Gear. Now, Tier Gear don't make their gear. They've sold their business to someone in New South Wales. Apparently, I found out after my last Australian Alps walking track video, I think. This is the same quilt that I used on the AAWT, and I've used it a lot throughout Australia. Going fine. After I get home from the bib, I think it'll be time to get in for a wash and maybe some top-ups and loft. But yeah, highly recommend the Tier Gear quilt. Don't know much about the new owners though, so people can drop some comments in if they've had good or bad experiences there, but I've had good experiences with Tier Gear. And the quilt's just way more flexible, lighter, and way more options for sleeping than a sleeping bag, I think. This one, with just wearing a icebreaker top and my pants and maybe a pair of socks, this is good down to about -3, pretty comfy. Anything under that, I'd probably have to start putting a few layers on. But yeah, for the weight of it and the size of it, absolutely brilliant. This is my cooker, my pot. The same one I used on the Alps. So I keep a little gas bottle, a knife, cigarette lighter, some waterproof matches. Unfortunately, my little pocket rocket doesn't fit in there, and the spork doesn't fit in there. But you can't have everything. And this is about 900 mil. This one, I think, and it works fine for me. I don't need much more than that. What I do though is have another little container an old peanut butter jar that by day, my waterproof socks, sealskins, and some dishwashing gloves that I'll use if it pours with rain. Now, I never used either of these on the Heysen, by the way. I'll have to have a think about where they come on the bib. But I also use this for rehydrating textured vegetable protein, or I can use it for cold, if I want to rehydrate my cold soaked oats. It is possible to rehydrate stuff in here. Just let it sit and percolate. Yeah, so I've got the pot and I've got this. The pot's 900, I guess this is 700 maybe mils, enough for me. And we're getting to the end here. Oh, that's my spare pair of socks. So I run, these are the ones that come above the ankles. I run 2 pairs of these and that little pair below the ankles. All right, then we're down to the pack. So HMG, Hyperlight Mountain Gear Wind Rider, I think it is. This has had even more use than a tent. And it's in perfect condition, except for the mesh pockets are starting to fray a little bit as they would, because I chuck drink bottles in and I scrape along rocks and the side of trees and barbed wire fences and that. So they've copped a bit of a pounding, but they're still amazingly in good nick, considering the amount of pounding they've copped. The bottom of it, still great. It's pretty well waterproof. However, it has got drain holes on the bottom, so eventually water will get in if it's pouring with rain all day, or you go swimming with it. But compared to a nylon pack, these Dyneema packs are not only light, it weighs about 900 grams, I guess, but they also amazingly waterproof and tough. My old Osprey pack was in a lot worse condition than this after doing a bit of off-track stuff. This has done quite a bit of off-track work. It's been through the Gammons, it's done a lot of off-track stuff in the Alps, and then it did the whole Northern Territory trip, Grampians. The Grampians is pretty rough on gear too. Did the whole Grampians Peaks Trail. It's done the Alps, it's done the Heysen. It's done a lot of work, this pack. So they're not the lightest of ultralight packs, these HMG ones. However, they carry weight. So I carry about 17 kilos comfortably with this. I've gone a lot higher. On some walks where I've had to carry a lot of water, I've gone up over 20. And yeah, you wouldn't want to walk for days with 20 kilos in it, but they do carry weight better. They have got a little frame in them, so they do carry weight a lot better than the sacks on your back that have no frame, that are just really light, that, you know, weigh a few hundred grams. But everyone to their own. This is just what suits me. All right, that's about it. I've got to clean up this mess and wash all this stuff now. I will do a logistics video like I did for the Australian Alps, in case anyone's interested. So I'll talk in that. I might talk a little bit more food that I did on the Australian Alps walking track, because people seem to be asking me questions about that. I'll talk about the logistics of walking the Heysen, food drops, accommodation, tracks and things like that. Those videos will pop up next. I might split them into 2 again too, like I did with the AOWT, just because there's a lot of kind of data that I've got to work out for that, and it could get a bit too much in one video. All right, I shall catch up with you next time.